We continue celebrating Black History Month, this time with Agapi Gassesi, Executive Director of the Career Education Empowerment Center for Young Black Professionals in Toronto on Canada Now. And Agapi, good to have you back on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Well, likewise. And CEE is dedicated to addressing economic and social barriers impacting Black youth in Canada by offering programs to improve their careers, education, empowerment that are holistic, person-centered, culturally relevant. We've spoken during this pandemic, and your organization has been very much needed throughout this pandemic, and then some.
Yeah, for sure. And I think at the end of 2020, we were really able to take a look at all that we've been able to kind of provide to the community. And it just was, we had a whole celebration just really reflecting on, how many people needed help that we're able to meet the needs of.
Well, part of the talk with Black History Month, both here and everywhere else, is acknowledging the past injustices against Black individuals. And while that is important, it's not enough.
No, it's not enough. I think acknowledging history is really important, but I think also acknowledging we're living through history, right? Like just because we're reflecting on the injustices of the Black community in history, we also have to acknowledge that a lot of that injustice is taking place right here and now. And so we need to start reflecting on how are we going to change that trajectory and how are we going to change history for the next generation.
So there is an underrepresentation of Black individuals in corporate Canada. How can that best be recognized?
I think it has to be recognized on a couple of levels. I think, number one, of course, corporations can look at their organization and see what Black employees are currently there and where they want to go and help their progression to get to where they need to be. And then the second piece to that is, who are the employees, who are the Black talent that are not in your organization, and the Black talent that lies in the Black community that really needs to be skilled up. An organization like ours, really fosters that type of approach because we want corporate Canada, we want labor gaps to be met, and we want them to be met by Black youth specifically. So corporations can really start reaching out and seeing how they can invest their money in training in the Black community so that those people who don't necessarily have the skills yet can develop them. And then the second fold that I just talked about is really finding the talent that exists that do have the skills currently and ensuring that they're making an inclusive environment for those folks as well.
So, I mean, this very month, because, the Black History Month has come and gone for years, and I think with many good intentions, recognition of the past, and then March comes and we move forward. But looking at the racial divide that we have seen in recent years, it really feels like now there are many that are looking to rectify issues that have been going for way too long. Do you believe that this very month, people and organizations will take an opportunity to implement new strategies that will become their new normal?
I think they will take the opportunity, but the challenge I think that I want to pose to people is really, are those long-term sustainable strategies that can be implemented in 2022, 2023, March, April, May, June, because the history that we're creating right now and the narrative is not one of equity, and we need to do better. And so how are we going to be able to fix that? And I think the plight of the Black community doesn't only happen in a month. It's a 365, has gone on for hundreds of years. And so how are we going to have hundreds of years in the future? How are we thinking long-term sustainable strategies in your homes, in your workplaces, in your churches, every aspect in your education system, in every aspect of our society? How are we making long-term? So I really do hope that, Black History Month is a catalyst to have that conversation. But I think we really need to think beyond the 28 days of February.
Oh, absolutely. How can organizations get their teams meaningfully involved and educated on diversity?
Yeah, there's organizations like the Urban Alliance for Race Relations that does a lot of training around this. I think finding some training for your team is a great idea. I also think finding 3B organizations, meaning Black-led, Black-serving, and Black-focused organizations to, get involved with, volunteer with, donate to. I think that there's a lot of opportunity there for corporations to get involved.
Do you have corporations, organizations getting in touch with you, with CEE at all, to just get a bit of education themselves, maybe get a bit of advice on how to move forward?
Yeah, we're constantly having conversations with corporations on just the lived experience of the young people that we serve entering into corporations and the common issues that arise in those instances. So for sure, they can reach out at ctoronto.com. And I think people are reaching out. They are getting involved. They're donating. They're volunteering their time. And, there's so many more organizations like ours that are doing this work too.
So the last couple of times we've spoken, we've talked about those you've been in touch with or those that have reached out to CEE to see how they're doing, and most notably doing so during the pandemic. I just wanted to get an update on how people are feeling, what people are feeling right now that you've been able to get in touch with, because obviously many have fallen on hard times due to the pandemic, but not just economically or professionally, but with everything that's going on in the world and in talking about Black History Month. What are you hearing from those that you're in touch with?
Yeah, I think that mental health in our community, the trauma of just like the vicarious trauma that really the last year has really done on our community, the need for mental health supports has become really, really a demand. And our organization has, we have a psychotherapist on staff now to be able to meet those needs. So I think it's more so aside from the economic need, I think the emotional and the healing that needs to take place based off of the current events that have taken place, the mental health needs of our community is more sought after than ever, I would say. And I know like the city of Toronto and, has a line for folks to call in. And I encourage people to do that. And I think culturally relevant approaches to this work and really understanding the plight that, Black communities are facing and what this means for them emotionally, financially, et cetera, and having somebody to talk to about that, I think makes a world of difference. And also the system navigation.
Well, I'm glad your organization is there. CEE, Center for Young Black Professionals, Executive Director Agapi Gassesi. I really appreciate this. Thank you so much for joining us. Great to hear from you again.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Take care.